Hi guys, this is Ann Phillips. Welcome to the East Texas Lighthouse for the Blind's topic of the month. Today's topic is iPhone apps for day-to-day activities, and our presenter today is Dawn Shaw. So Dawn, I'm going to stop my screen share and turn it over to you.
Okay, I'm Don Shaw. I hope everyone's doing well today. And yes, I do want to talk about the apps that I use pretty much every day on an ongoing basis. The apps that are really helpful for me. I'm legally blind. I have a little bit of eyesight, and I use these apps all the time. So I'd like to tell a little bit about a few of them. The first one I want to talk about that I think is really useful for students and adults both is Seeing AI. And it's a really useful app because Seeing AI is by Microsoft. They're developing it. It's a work in progress, but it works really well. And this app can do a lot. It can do everything from barcodes to reading short text. And I'll go into more detail about what some of the things are that it can do. It has a money identifier, several different things. Let's just start from the beginning, and it's got tabs along the bottom of the screen that if you're a screen reader user, it's very voiceover friendly. If you're a partially sighted person, you could go across the bottom of the screens and flick from tab to tab. It starts out with the first tab on the left is short text. And when you go to short text, you just point your phone camera at the short text that you want to read. And what's cool about it is it will read this text in real time. Instead of having to take a picture of the text like some other apps do, this will read it in real time. And when they say short text, they mean like a few sentences as short text. But anyway, if you have something to read that's short and simple, it really works well. The next tab along would be like to read a document. And when you read a document with Seeing AI, it will take a picture of the document, just like some other readers and scanners will do. So it takes a picture of the document, but it's pretty quick. It takes the picture and then it will start reading the document back to you, which is kind of a useful feature as well for certain things. Okay, the next thing is it has a really good barcode reader on it, and it will read pretty much any barcode. I've experimented with that, and the students can experiment with things like around in their kitchen that they want to know what is in their pantry, or they want more information on the product. It'll do both things. Anyway, you grab a product, and I know some of the problem for a totally blind person is finding the actual barcode on the item, whatever it is. But anyway, you just select the barcode, the products, it's called products tab, and then move the item around under the camera, and it will see the barcode at some point, and you'll hear a beep when it detects the barcode. It will read what the item is. It will read it out to you. It'll say the product and the brand, and then it will say more information. And usually when you click on more information, not all the time, but usually it will give you more information on the product. Let's just say you were playing around in the kitchen and you wanted to bake some brownies, and you had the brownie mix, and you put it under the, and scan the barcode, and it would say like Duncan Hines brownies mix. And then it would, when you went to more information, it might tell you how to make the brownie mix, how to cook it. So that's kind of handy. Now, not every product has more information, but a lot of things do. And that might be a good scanning program just to try any kind of different barcodes on things that you might have around your house. Pretty much anything that has a barcode, it will detect. So that's pretty useful. Also, the next feature this app has got for a totally blind person is it's got a good light meter. And this light meter kind of works in tones. Like, in other words, the more light it sees, the higher the pitch of the tone will be. The less light gets down to like a candle or something, would be just like a real low tone. So that's how you would know that there wouldn't be much light in the room. And as I say, this is a work in progress, and it just keeps getting better. Microsoft is always working on it. So if nothing else, you might want to go to the App Store. It's a free app. And type in Seeing AI and get the app and give it a try and see what you think about it. Okay, the next app I want to talk about is called Voice Memos. What's kind of good about Voice Memos? It would be good in a class, for lectures, for any voice audio recording you need to make. It's real simple. You open Voice Memos, and if you have some eyesight, it's got a big giant red record button at the bottom of the screen that you just you tap that, and Voice Memos will start recording at that point, and it'll go on continuously. It doesn't really have any limits, except maybe for the for the memory of your phone would be a limit, but other than that, you're good to go for however long a class or whatever you might want to use it for. It's also really good for taking notes. When you get to the end of the recording, you hit the record button again to pause the recording, or if you hit the done button on the right, it will stop the recording. That's a very handy feature. And what's nice about Voice Memos is it uses your phone's location in order to name the name of the file. Like, in other words, when you create a file, it will tell you where it was recorded, the location, and the time of the file. And of course, if you wanted it if you wanted to rename the file, you could do that as well. Also, if you want to edit the file, you can do that. You can trim it. You can do a lot of different things to the file. So that's a pretty awesome app. So that might be worth looking at for recording one thing and the other. I use it a lot for just making little notes. A phone number. If I don't have time to open a message and type it out or something, it's a real quick way to record a short note. They're easy to delete, easy to edit, and if you're a total, it's real screen voiceover friendly. And also, when you start recording, it won't record voiceover, which is good. Now, if you go in at the end and pause it for some reason, it may get like a word or two in there that you'd have to edit out. But overall, it's a nice little program. The other app are some more of the apps I wanted to talk about that I use a lot. One of them is Be My Eyes. And Be My Eyes is a really nice app if you're around the house or wherever you're at, really, and you need something read to you or someone to look at something to tell you what the object is. It's a great app for that. And you just simply open the app and you hit the call button. And once you get it set up, and you got it ask you a few questions in the beginning. It asks if you're sighted or if you're blind. And you pick your choice, and you go in and you set it up, And the reason it asks that is because Be My Eyes has sighted volunteers. And there's like lots and lots of sighted volunteers from all over the world. So this app is pretty much good 24/7, because if there's not a sighted volunteer around close, there might be a sighted volunteer in another country that would be awake at the time when you needed the app. So you can pretty much always get in touch with a volunteer to help you. Now that being said, the volunteers are really nice and really helpful. But since they are volunteers, you would want to watch your personal information. You really wouldn't want to show any of your documents that might have some information like an address and phone number and things like that, maybe that you would not want the volunteer to be able to see. But that's, I guess, one of the little drawbacks to Be My Eyes. But it's a great app, wonderful app, really. I've used it a lot. I've used it at home. If I want to know what something is, or if I'm in the kitchen and I want to know a date on a something that I'm want to cook in the kitchen, I might call it, ask the volunteer for the date on the package. There's just all kind of things you can use it for in the house. If you're outside, like at a mall or something, and you needed them to read a sign that was on a storefront or something like that, it'd be useful. You could do a lot of things with it. Overall, I'd really recommend Be My Eyes. And as I say, it's a great app for both us blind and partially sighted folks, and a lot of really good volunteers as well. The other app I want to talk about on the same lines is Aira, AIRA. And it's real similar. You would initially download the app from the App Store, and you would have an initial little setup, but it'll guide you through it. It's real friendly, real voiceover friendly. And you may call the person to help you finish setting it up even the first time. But the difference is the people in Aira, instead of volunteers, they are trained, paid people that work at Aira. So they're kind of trained to help with the different situations. Like maybe one thing like if you were going through an airport or something, they would be really good at helping you read signs in the airport and doing all kinds of things that they're really familiar with, because they go through a pretty extensive training to be able to learn, to be able to work at Aira. So that's kind of one of the good things about Aira. Now, where Be My Eyes is a free app, it's a free usage. Aira will have some free places you can use the app. Like Walgreens would be a place you could use the app for free. If you're a student and you go to one of the conventions, the NFB or ACB conventions, something like that, those are free. They call them access points. And that would be a free access point where you could use Aira absolutely free. So there is a lot of free places around that you can use Aira. If you don't have a free access point, a lot of schools now have access points to Aira that are free, so you could use it as a student. And Ann, you may have some more input on Aira, something you may know about. Students may, or I'm not sure, do you know if students get a discount?
I don't know of any discounts for students. I mean, that may be, but I'm not aware. I know most airports are free zones.
They are. They're free zones.
And they now have the free 5-minute, isn't it 5, Dawn, or 3 minutes?
No, it's 5 minutes.
So anybody can call anytime and ask any question for under 5 minutes. And I don't think they limit how many 5 minutes you use in a day. So you could call about one thing and an hour later you could call about something else, I believe. And
I think
keep your,
so.
keep your 5 minutes. Yeah. So, and most questions you have probably aren't going to go over 5 minutes. If you were going grocery shopping and you wanted to have them help you through the store with your grocery list, that would take longer than 5 minutes. But most questions are pretty quick. You know, hey, what does my medicine bottle tell me about when I should take it? Something like that.
Or if you're looking at a box of something in the kitchen or a can, or you want to know a color of something, or there's just lots of way under 5 minute questions you could do. So that's one of the nice things about that app as well. But that 5 minute thing is a nice feature, and that's just something that's recently come along. IRA's a work in progress also, and so they're always, I guess what I'm saying is they're always adding new things to IRA. And if there's not a free access point close to you today, well, there could be one next week or next month, because they're always adding new access points. So, and did you have anything else you wanted to add to IRA that you know that?
No, I think you covered it.
Because that's to me, that's a pretty important app, and an app I think someone would really want to use.
It's also good if you get in a bind if you're traveling by yourself and there's road construction, the sidewalks torn up, something like that. IRA has GPS access, I believe, and
It
can
does.
direct you, give you directions.
Yeah, the workers at IRA are supposed to be able to give directions to get to places. They can read like lots of things to you too, if you need signs or anything read, like if you're out. Since they're paid, they do such a big variety of different things that are helpful. And they have a new street crossing policy out that I just saw last week, when they either can, at first they really couldn't help people cross streets too much, but I think that's changed. And I just saw that a couple of days ago, that new street crossing policy, and I need to read it myself. So I don't want to talk much about it, because I think it's changed and it's more helpful now, but I don't really know exactly what it does differently. So, but it's just some of the things that IRA really can help with.
Don, we've got about 10 minutes left.
Okay. I'll just do some little short ones then on the next ones that I've got. I want to talk a little bit about mobility this time, mobility apps that I think are really useful. And it used to be like you had to buy these apps. Like Nearby Explorer would be an example of an app that was pretty expensive. It was around $80 or so that you had to buy. But just recently, and this has been just in the last couple of months, and we're in November now of 2019. So it's been just like maybe last month, or and maybe in September. Google Maps now is really become much more accessible for us visually impaired and screen reader users. What's kind of cool about Google Maps is they have incorporated a new walk feature. They've always had you could always pick your mode, whether it be driving, a bike mode, or walking. They've always had that, and it would do some limited speech in the walk mode, but they made it much more accessible for us now. Google Maps has a new turn-by-turn instructions that it will give you, and it really works well. In other words, if you're walking down a street, okay, let's say you put in a turn by turn to, let's say you want to go to your closest Taco Bell. And all you would have to do is put in like Taco Bell, either dictate it in or type in Taco Bell, and it will pick the nearest Taco Bell to your location. And this would just be an example. You could use this on any location, but let's just say Taco Bell. So anyway, it comes back and you can either say start route now, or you can say show me the turn-by-turn instructions. And when it does that, it will take you through the turn-by-turn instructions of exactly, it'll read out to you in voice exactly how to do the trip. Or if you say start now, you can start going and it'll say, as you're walking along, it'll say you're going north on John Street, and you're walking north, which you'll know, and it'll say turn left on Jane Avenue in 800 feet. So you're walking along, and then it'll say again, maybe turn left on Jane Avenue in 500 feet, in 200 feet. And then when you get to the street, it tells you, it'll say turn left on Jane Street. And so on and so on. It'll tell you turn left, turn right, how many feet to the street. And then what's kind of nice about it is when you do get to Taco Bell and you're walking up to Taco Bell, it'll say like Taco Bell is on your right or on your left, according to whatever it is. So I just thought that's really cool for a free app that you can get now by using Google Maps that you used to have to pay a lot for that app.
Mm-hmm.
I think for some people, in some locations, it's just, that's really, really great that they created that. So I know we're getting close here, but one more app just to talk just a minute about. It is Voice Dream Reader. And what's kind of nice about Voice Dream Reader is for a student, well, for anyone that wants to save really any kind of app, any kind of text rather, or any kind of web page. If you're on the internet, you could save this web page to Voice Dream Reader, and it will save it in the document, in the type of document that it is. It will save a Word document. It's a good place to save all of your documents in one area. It has its own built-in reader, so you could turn off VoiceOver and have it read the text to you. It's really good with PDF files. If you have a PDF file that you just can't read, it will read that for you. It also has a companion app, and you get both of these, of course, at the App Store. And the companion app is a scanner, a text-to-speech scanner that works really well. Now, this is a paid-for app, but it's only like a few dollars. So the price on it is real reasonable, and it's really useful, particularly the part about being able to read the PDF files. It's just, because those, I'm sure as you know, are kind of difficult to read at times. So.
It will read your audiobooks, won't it, Dawn? Won't it read some of the audio books available?
They say it will. They say it will read a lot of MP3 books. I think it won't read the NLS library books because they're protected.
Right.
But any kind of MP3 books or things like that, yes, it will. It will read. I've never done that, but they say it will do that. I've just mostly used it for text. It really works. It really works well for that. So, but it's a nice app, and it would be really worth looking at.
Dawn, you've got about 5 minutes. Do you want to talk about Blind Square before you go, or is there some other app that's more important that you want to talk about?
I'll talk about Blind Square a little bit, since it, again, is a mobility app, and I know everybody's probably interested in mobility and easier ways to do things. What I'll say about Blind Square is, again, you would go to the App Store. Now it's a paid app, but I don't know the price on it. I've had it for a long time, but I don't think it's that expensive. But the big thing is, and the kind of the different thing about this app is, when you open it, it opens a list of things that are around you in your area. And in other words, it might have like shopping, food, transportation, which would give you a list of like bus stops. It might have like professional, like offices would be a category. Anyway, you go to the category of each one of these things that you want, and it will start listing the things in that category that are close to you, starting out with the thing that is the nearest to you in that category. And then it works out as you flick through it and read more of the items, which is very useful when you're especially when you're in a different area that you don't know. And talking about that, Blind Square is really useful if you travel, because let's just say, as a student, if you go to one of the conventions, for an example, or to a relative's house, and you want to find out what's around you, you can go to the virtual mode and put in the person's address or the address of the place you're going to be staying if it's at a convention or something, and it will virtually take you, and it'd be like you were sitting at that address. And again, it'll tell you all the different categories and whatever's around you. So that's a pretty useful feature. Again, when you're traveling, that I think is really worthwhile. Now, it will not do turn-by-turn instructions in the app itself. But that being said, if you click on a place you want to go, for one thing, it'll bring it up. It'll give you more information. If it's a restaurant, sometimes it even has a menu, and it'll have a phone number to the location. But then it may also say, for turn-by-turn instructions, click here or tap here, and it will open Google Maps. And the turn-by-turn instructions would be placed in Google Maps, and then you could use the Google Map turn-by-turn instructions. So it's kind of a roundabout way to get there, but you could get the turn-by-turn instructions that way. So that's Blind Square. So could be useful.
Well, Dawn, are we ready to wrap it up? You got anything else you want to share? Or are we ready to wrap up?
I think I've covered pretty much everything I wanted to, at least for this time. So.
Okay. Yeah, apps are ever changing. So what's new today is old news, a month from now.
That's right.
Back in the near future to give us an update. But I appreciate all of the information you shared today. As a mobility instructor, I'm really excited about giving some of these things a try, and I hope that our audience as well finds it helpful. And by the way, if you watch the video and you find it helpful, let us know in the comments so we can keep this up and know what to address with you next time.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, I'd be happy to come back again in a few months and again talk about the latest and greatest, even if I do a short presentation sometime of just one or two apps that just happen to come along, because I usually download apps that I think would be useful and at least check them out, because technology is kind of what I do. So
yeah, you stay on top of them really well, Dawn. Thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead and close out the meeting then, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Okay.